Welcome to Forgotten Leaf Secrets. For centuries, medieval farmers cultivated fruits that carried flavor, medicine, and survival, fruits erased by modern agriculture, buried by industry, and forgotten by time. These were not ordinary harvests. They were miracles of resilience, each with a story that whispers from the past. Today, we uncover 20 forgotten fruits, treasures that fed generations, healed bodies, and flavored feasts, fruits that must return to our world. Number 1 is the mulberry. This fruit carried empires on its branches. In medieval times, mulberries were more than food. They were the foundation of the silk trade. Their leaves fed silkworms, weaving threads that clothed kings and queens, while their berries sweetened the tables of peasants and nobles alike. The black mulberry, rich and wine-like, was treasured for its medicinal power, prescribed for fevers and sore throats. Folklore claimed mulberry trees protected homes from evil spirits, and farmers cherished them for their resilience. Once rooted, they thrived for decades. Yet modern agriculture erased its legacy, pushing it aside for commercial crops. Today, only heritage growers keep its memory alive, a fruit of survival, trade, and forgotten wisdom. Number 2 is the bullace. Hidden in medieval hedgerows, the bullace was a wild plum that carried the taste of endurance, tart and sharp to the tongue, yet transformed into jams, rustic wines, and winter preserves that sustained families through the cold. Farmers valued it as a lifeline, a fruit that grew where little else would, proving that resilience often hides in the wild. Bullace was baked into hearty pies and fermented into warming drinks. Its presence in medieval diets a reminder that survival depended not on luxury, but on nature's overlooked gifts. But as orchards shifted to sweeter, market-friendly plums, the bullace disappeared from fields and kitchens, forgotten by commerce. It waits in the shadows of history, a fruit of strength erased by time. Number 3 is the Saskatoon Berry, native to the cold plains of North America. This fruit was a lifeline for indigenous peoples and later medieval settlers who carried its seeds across continents. Small, purple, and bursting with antioxidants, Saskatoon berries were dried into cakes, stored for winters, and mixed with meat to create survival foods like pemmican. In medieval diets, they became a symbol of endurance, a fruit that could withstand harsh climates and still deliver nourishment. Sweet yet earthy, they were treasured for both flavor and medicine, believed to strengthen the body against illness. Today, they remain hidden in small orchards, waiting to reclaim their place as one of nature's most resilient gifts. Number 4 is the Rowan Berry. In medieval folklore, the rowan tree was sacred, planted near homes to guard against witches and evil spirits. Its bright red berries, though bitter, were transformed into tonics, wines, and jams that carried both flavor and protection. Farmers believed the rowan was more than food. It was a shield, a guardian woven into daily life. The berries were rich in vitamin C, used to fight scurvy and winter sickness, while the tree itself became a symbol of resilience in the harsh northern landscapes. Though modern agriculture dismissed it as ornamental, the rowan berry's legacy whispers from old legends and forgotten recipes, a fruit of mystery, medicine, and survival. Number 5 is the quince. Golden and aromatic, the quince was a centerpiece of medieval orchards. Unlike apples or pears, it was too hard to eat raw. But once cooked, it transformed into fragrant jams, syrups, and stews that graced noble feasts and humble kitchens alike. Physicians praised it for its healing powers, prescribing quince tonics for digestion and fevers. In folklore, it symbolized love and fertility, often gifted at weddings. Its tough skin and long shelf life made it a survival fruit, lasting through harsh winters when other fruits had vanished. Yet, as sweeter fruits dominated markets, the quince faded into obscurity. Forgotten by commerce, it remains a fruit of fragrance, medicine, and resilience waiting to return. Number 6 is the crab apple, Europe's wild ancestor of the modern apple, small and sour, yet vital to medieval life. Farmers pressed crab apples into sharp ciders and vinegars, preserving them as medicine and drink. Their tartness was transformed into hearty stews and rustic preserves, offering flavor when sweetness was rare. In medieval villages, crab apple trees lined fields and roads, symbols of endurance and fertility. Folklore claimed they carried protective powers, and their blossoms marked the rhythm of the seasons. Though dismissed today as too sour, crab apples were once the backbone of survival. A fruit that proved strength often hides in the smallest harvests. Forgotten by modern taste, they remain a fruit of history, endurance, and hidden power. Number 7 is the medlar. A fruit so unusual that medieval farmers called it the fruit of patience. Hard, bitter, and inedible when fresh, it had to be left to rot until it softened, a process known as bledding. Only then did it reveal a sweet, spiced flavor that nobles adored in jams, wines, and desserts. Physicians praised medlar for aiding digestion, while poets used it as a symbol of transformation and hidden beauty. Its strange nature made it a delicacy of medieval feasts, a fruit that taught patience and reward. But as modern tastes shifted to instant sweetness, the medlar vanished from orchards. Forgotten today, it remains a fruit of mystery, resilience, and timeless lessons. Number 8 is the Cornelian cherry. Bright red and jewel-like, this fruit was treasured in medieval Europe and the Middle East. Farmers harvested it for syrups, preserves, and medicinal tonics, believing it could strengthen the heart and heal fevers. Its wood was so strong that it was used for tools and weapons, making the tree both practical and sacred. In monasteries, Cornelian cherries were brewed into wines and offered as remedies to the sick. Their tart flavor carried resilience, a taste of survival in harsh winters. Yet, as commercial cherries took over, the Cornelian was forgotten, left behind in old gardens and folklore. Today, it waits to be rediscovered, a fruit of strength, healing, and hidden beauty. Number 9 is the jujube. Known as the red date, this fruit traveled from Asia into medieval gardens and apothecaries. Small, wrinkled, and sweet when dried, jujubes were treasured for their medicinal power. Healers prescribed them for insomnia, digestion, and longevity, believing they carried life force within their flesh. Farmers valued them for resilience, thriving in poor soils and harsh climates where other fruits failed. In medieval trade routes, jujubes were carried as dried treasures, sustaining travelers across deserts and mountains. Yet, as modern diets shifted, the jujube was forgotten, left behind in herbal medicine and folklore. Today, it remains a fruit of healing, endurance, and timeless survival. Number 10 is the loquat. Golden and tangy, the loquat was introduced from Asia into medieval orchards, where its clusters of fruit became a symbol of abundance. Sweet, yet slightly tart, loquats were eaten fresh, brewed into wines, and used in remedies for coughs and fevers. Physicians praised their leaves for soothing the lungs, while farmers admired their ability to ripen early in spring, offering nourishment when other fruits were scarce. In medieval villages, loquats were celebrated as a promise of renewal, the first taste of the season's bounty. But as global trade favored larger commercial fruits, the loquat slipped into obscurity. Forgotten by markets, it waits to return as a fruit of healing, freshness, and resilience. Number 11 is the Sorbus berry, also called Juneberry. In medieval times, this small purple fruit was a survival treasure. Farmers and villagers dried Sorbus berries into cakes and stored them for the long, punishing winters. Their sweet yet earthy flavor made them a staple in rustic diets, while healers praised them for strengthening the body and preventing scurvy. Sorbus berry trees were hardy, thriving in poor soils and cold climates, offering fruit when other crops failed. In folklore, they symbolized endurance and renewal, marking the arrival of summer. But as commercial berries took over, the Sorbus berry faded into obscurity. Today, it waits to be rediscovered, a fruit of resilience, sweetness, and forgotten survival. Number 12 is the white mulberry, a fruit tied to one of history's greatest trades. Its leaves were the lifeblood of silkworms, fueling the silk industry that clothed kings and queens. Farmers cultivated white mulberry trees not only for their fruit, but for the wealth they generated through silk. The berries themselves were mild and sweet, eaten fresh or dried. While medieval physicians used mulberry extracts to treat fevers and digestive troubles, folklore claimed the tree carried prosperity, and its presence in orchards was a mark of abundance. Yet, as modern agriculture shifted, the white mulberry's role diminished, remembered only in silkworm farms and scattered orchards. Forgotten by commerce, it remains a fruit of trade, medicine, and hidden legacy. Number 13 is the barberry. Sharp, crimson berries that once colored medieval stews and medicines. Farmers harvested barberries for their tart flavor, using them to brighten heavy meats and preserve food through the cold months. Apothecaries prized them for their healing powers, believed to cleanse the blood, soothe fevers, and strengthen the heart. In monastery gardens, barberry shrubs lined pathways, their thorns protecting sacred grounds while their fruit nourished the sick. Though small, they carried immense value, a fruit of survival and medicine. But as sweeter fruits dominated markets, barberries were cast aside, remembered only in scattered recipes and herbal texts. Forgotten by commerce, they remain a fruit of sharpness, healing, and resilience. Number 14 is the elderberry. Dark clusters of fruit that medieval farmers transformed into wines, syrups, and remedies. The elder tree was sacred in folklore, believed to guard against evil and connect the living with the spirit world. Its berries, rich in nutrients, were brewed into tonics for coughs, colds, and winter sickness. Villagers relied on elderberry wine not only for warmth but for healing, a fruit that carried both flavor and protection. Farmers cherished the elder tree for its dual gifts, medicine in its berries and strength in its wood. Yet, as modern medicine rose, elderberries were dismissed as superstition. Forgotten by industry, they remain a fruit of mystery, healing, and ancient wisdom. Number 15 is the gooseberry. In medieval gardens, gooseberries were a tart treasure. Small, green, or golden, they carried a sharp flavor that farmers transformed into pies, puddings, and sauces. Their high vitamin content made them a natural medicine prescribed for fevers and digestive troubles. Gooseberry bushes thrived in poor soils, offering fruit when other crops failed, making them a symbol of resilience. Villagers celebrated gooseberry harvests with rustic feasts, turning sourness into sweetness through skill and patience. But as commercial fruits dominated orchards, gooseberries slipped into obscurity, remembered only in old recipes. Forgotten today, they remain a fruit of survival, flavor, and hidden strength. Number 16 is the cloudberry. Golden and rare, cloudberries grew in the cold northern marshes where few fruits could survive. Medieval farmers and travelers prized them for their richness in vitamin C, a cure against scurvy and winter sickness. Their honey-like flavor made them a delicacy, eaten fresh or preserved into jams and wines. In folklore, cloudberries were seen as gifts of the Arctic, symbols of endurance in the harshest climates. Farmers cherished them as a fruit of survival, carrying warmth and sweetness into the frozen months. Yet, as trade routes shifted, cloudberries remained hidden in remote lands, forgotten by modern diets. Today, they wait to return, a fruit of rarity, resilience, and golden nourishment. Number 17 is the damson plum. Deep purple and rich in flavor, the damson was a medieval staple, cherished for its versatility. Farmers harvested it for jams, preserves, and brandies that carried warmth through the cold months. Its tartness made it perfect for rustic pies and hearty stews, while healers praised it for aiding digestion and cleansing the body. Damson orchards lined villages, their blossoms marking the rhythm of the seasons. In folklore, the damson symbolized endurance, thriving in poor soils where other fruits struggled. Yet, as sweeter plums dominated markets, the damson slipped into obscurity. Forgotten by commerce, it remains a fruit of resilience, flavor, and hidden strength. Number 18 is the Nanking cherry. Small, scarlet, and bursting with tart sweetness. This fruit was cultivated in monastery gardens and rural orchards. Medieval farmers valued it for its early ripening, offering nourishment at the start of summer when food was scarce. Its berries were brewed into wines, syrups, and medicinal tonics, believed to strengthen the heart and cleanse the blood. The Nanking cherry was hardy, thriving in cold climates and poor soils, a symbol of abundance in times of need. Villagers celebrated its harvest as a promise of renewal, a fruit that carried both flavor and healing. But as larger cherries took over, the Nanking faded into obscurity. Forgotten today, it waits to return, a fruit of endurance, medicine, and hidden beauty. Number 19 is the sea buckthorn. Bright orange berries clinging to thorny branches. Sea buckthorn was a medieval healer's treasure. Farmers and apothecaries valued its oils for wounds, fevers, and strength, believing it carried the sun's energy within its fruit. Its sharp, citrus-like flavor was brewed into syrups and tonics, offering nourishment in the harshest winters. In folklore, sea buckthorn symbolized resilience, thriving in poor soils and coastal winds where few plants survived. Though modern agriculture overlooked it, this fruit remains a powerhouse of vitamins and healing. Forgotten by commerce, it waits to return, a fruit of endurance, medicine, and radiant survival. Number 20 is the hackberry. A humble fruit hidden inside a hard shell, hackberries were once a lifeline for medieval peasants and travelers. Sweet pulp wrapped around a stone, they were eaten fresh or dried, carried on long journeys as survival food. Farmers admired the hackberry tree for its strength, thriving in poor soils and offering shade, wood, and nourishment. In folklore, it symbolized persistence, a fruit that gave quietly without demand for recognition. Though forgotten by modern diets, hackberries remain a fruit of history. Resilience and hidden sweetness waiting to be rediscovered. These were 20 forgotten fruits, treasures of medieval farmers, erased by time, yet carrying wisdom, flavor, and resilience. They fed families, healed bodies, and flavored feasts, reminding us that survival often hides in nature's overlooked gifts. Like and subscribe to Forgotten Leaf Secrets.